Canadian doctors are leaving medicine not because of patient, but because of paperwork. Today, we're actually here with two family doctors who are going to walk us in the routine of the everyday life of a Canadian doctor. So today we have Joyce and AJ. Joyce, do you mind introducing yourself? Who are you?
Hi, Christine. So I'm Joyce Cheung. I'm a family doctor and palliative care doctor in Toronto. I'm also an assistant clinical professor at the Toronto Metropolitan University School of Medicine and McMaster University. And I hold various local and provincial leadership roles as well.
Wow, thank you so much. And how about you, AJ? Who are you?
Hi, Christine. So I'm AJ Kadhim. I'm a family doctor. I've been practicing comprehensive family medicine for 7.5 years. I'm also the owner of Vivo Family Medicine, where we serve over 5,500 patients. I take students from University of Toronto, so I'm a lecturer at U of T, and I'm the co-founder of Pippin AI.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. So today we'll be discussing about the admin burden. So Joyce, can you walk us through a typical day in a Canadian family's workflow?
Absolutely. So the work begins before you start seeing patients.
Okay.
So people don't really know that. We start looking at our charts, our messages through our EMR, which is our electronic medical system. And then you spend most of your business hours and then evening hours sometimes seeing patients. In between, you are handling faxes, you are looking at consultant notes, you're getting all the prescription refills from the pharmacy, and then you're also charting. So you're writing down the actual clinical encounters with the patients. And once you're done your shift, you may have more paperwork to do, whether that is ongoing charting, refills, etc., looking at lab results, calling people for critical lab results, and also thinking about, if you are not able to do this on a day-to-day basis, you would have to find a substitute, for example, and get a locum doctor to handle your paperwork.
Wow. And AJ, does this resonate with you? What would you say is the most breaking, that you do in the everyday as a doctor?
Yeah, 100%. As I was listening to Joyce, it's like that's exactly, the flow for myself and many, I would say all family doctors deal with this is, managing the inbox with all the prescriptions, the labs, the imaging, the messages from our staff, of course, and then messages from specialists, hospital information. So it's just massive amount of data that's coming to us.
But what would you say is the breaking task in that per se,
The breaking, like the most difficult or most challenging? I would say all of it, to be honest. It's just the volume of things is insane.
Wow.
So like in general, we have all the faxes that are coming through, and I'll emphasize it is still fax that we're getting all these messages coming from, and even like the electronic version of the fax is sometimes duplicated. So actually, the work multiplies, and it's unnecessary work.
Wow, thank you for sharing. So from what I can get, a lot of the energy of a family doctor really lie upon the administrative burden. So with that being said, would you say, Joyce, that you spend more time in spending your energy in administrative activity than actual clinical activity?
Absolutely. There's actually research that shows family doctors do anywhere between 10 to 19 hours of paperwork per week.
Oh, wow.
So many of this is because of processes that need to be updated. We are still faxing things.
Wow.
Yes, we're practicing
2026.
medicine. Yes, we're practicing like
With
it's
AI and
1996. Absolutely. The fax machines are still going.
Wow.
And so I think a lot of the processes they are quite archaic, and they do need to be upgraded. Now we are seeing people are using AI, and they are leveraging AI to improve various administrative burden, whether that is charting, whether that is looking for a physician substitute to cover you, because as you can imagine, this job is 24/7, 365. The
And
inbox
you're a
doesn't
human being.
absolutely the inbox doesn't stop. Right. So I think that would be one of the breaking points. Is it's not just one fax, it's not just one prescription. When you're handling hundreds or thousands of this on a regular basis, that is what is, the cumulative time that we're spending on admin burden that is breaking our backs.
Thank you so much. And AJ, like, if you want to, add up on that, is this a new problem? As she mentioned, this problem has been there for, like, you're still living in the 90s, I believe, right? Is it a new problem or?
No, it's been ongoing. But to put it like more concretely, I calculated this actually. I was spending a third of my time doing paperwork. So like imagine, spending literally a third of your time instead of seeing patients, you're actually doing paperwork. And that was eating away in my evenings, my weekends. I have 2 kids at home. So it was cutting into like bedtime, like getting home in time to actually see my kids. And this is like not just me, this is across the whole system. It's definitely not a new problem. It's been there since like sort of I began, and it has continued. I'd say if anything, it has worsened to a large extent because, the expectations have gone up. And of course, like for me personally, as my practice has grown, so did the paperwork problem. It has grown with it. And I think like for me, like it just felt wrong to spend that much time on paperwork.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We discussed about the administrative burden on doctor, and I think it's just unbelievable to believe that in 2026, we're still using fax, we're still using archaic technologies, and which lead us to the second part of this conversation, the current tech landscape. There's no shortage of health tech tool right now. I think that the tech space landscape is ready to be absorbed. So the question that I'm going to ask to Joyce, are they actually solving the right problem, all of these AI tools?
That's a great question. I think many of them are solving one problem at a time, whether that is, the charting problem, which is helping us write our notes. I'm the chief medical officer for Locum, so we're trying to solve the substitute doctor problem, where in 2026, people are still relying on Facebook groups or texting their friends, trying to get a favor to get coverage for them. Because as you can see, the inbox never stops, right? And that is not a process that is sustainable. A lot of this invisible work that doctors do behind the scenes, all this paperwork and also not being able to take time off, takes a burden and it contributes to burnout.
Wow. Many of the stories we share on Hidden Shift have something in common. Doctors looking for more flexibility, more control, and better ways to practice. That's exactly why Locum exists, connecting physicians with flexible work opportunities while helping clinics and hospitals fill real gaps in care. Locum, rethinking how doctors work. And AJ, as someone who used these tools and builds them, what's the gap between what's been marketed and what physicians actually need?
Yeah, and I'll just first echo what Joyce was mentioning about the problem of like finding a replacement. I have known many doctors that have actually shut down their practice because they just couldn't find someone to cover. Yeah, whether it's maternity leave or they got sick and they just needed a replacement, and because they couldn't find that replacement or the agreement falls through at the last minute, they had to shut down because there's nothing else available and there's no system to support them. So just I'm so glad you're providing that solution, because it is a real problem, and thousands of people would lose access to their family doctor just because of that. Yeah, sorry, and I went on a tangent.
That's okay.
I think in terms of like the tech landscape, as Joyce was mentioning, there's a lot of different companies, different tech that are trying to address different problems. But it is a complex problem, and there's, to my knowledge, not a single sort of company that is trying to address everything.
Yes.
It is a complex problem, and it's hard to change, to change that sort of landscape. But I think there's a lot of amazing work that is being done to actually try to address these issues, right? And there's so much more work
To be done.
to be done.
So we've mentioned about all those good tools that exist, but like I'm sure there's these tools that nobody asks for, Joyce. Like, do you have any idea of these tools that nobody asks for that are just being built?
That's a great question. So some of the time, we do have people that are building tools, but they don't know the workflow of the physician. So AJ and myself, we are founders. We're family doctors. We understand the workflow of what a family doctor goes through, and we see the gaps. We see the real gaps in our workday, and how our technologies and our companies would make a difference. But you do have people that are building, and they don't understand the physician landscape that we just talked about.
And I'll just add to that. This is actually my fear of that sort of prompted me to get into health tech. So I did not sort of set out to become a founder of a health tech company. But one of my fears when I was like initially thinking about solving this is that if I just leave this to people who don't understand our workflows, there's going to be solutions, but those solutions may not work for us. And we see this already in some of the tools that we use, that you can tell that they're not built by doctors. They're not taking into account like the doctor workflow. And that I sort of like looked into the future. I'm like 10 years later, I'm going to see a tool that we have to use, but then it's not actually like working for me. And sort of that's what prompted me to sort of say, let's get in and sort of be on, in that process, in that journey, to try to actually make something that would work for us. Yeah.
Thank you. So I love that you shared, and I'm so happy to see doctors ready to change and innovate in the healthcare system, because as you mentioned, nobody can really understand the workflow than except yourself. So stepping in as leader, because you are a leader, stepping in as doctor and as leader, it's so important. So my next question is it that the problem is it the problem that the tool don't exist, or that the system isn't set to adopt them? And my other question is, how is the current the innovation ecosystem in that space? Because you mentioned that you have your practice and you're doing this as a hidden shift.
Do you want to take a stab at it, Joyce? It's so challenging, and again, like I think companies are trying to build something that would work, right? So I commend like all that innovation to try to find something that would work for us, right? It doesn't exist. Yes, that's part of it, and that's why like it constantly needs to be built. But also, like the system sometimes doesn't support it. So I'll give you a timely example that's happening right now. So there's currently a tool called Prescribe It. I don't know if you've heard about this, but this is a tool that I use in my practice where it helps me send prescriptions electronically. So instead of sending by fax, I send it to the pharmacy electronically, and it's really good to a large extent. It solves a real problem where I'm actually avoiding the fax, right? And I just send it directly to the pharmacy. Now that tool is actually going to be going out of business, coming very soon in a few months. We just got the announcement, so this is very timely. And it's going out of business because no one wants to pay for it. So doctors...
Is it going to be replaced with something? Is the government stepping in?
No, we're going back.
Is the government aware that there's this tool that exists that help you?
Yeah, so I think, this was a tool that was funded, and they try to, put the funding now onto the doctors and the pharmacists, but doctors and pharmacists don't want to pay for it. So it's going out of business. The government is saying we're not going to continue funding it, and it's over. It's not going to be replaced by anything. We're going to be more entrenched in faxing. So it's going to go back even more into faxing. But this is just one example where maybe the system is not supporting that kind of innovation, even though it has worked and, provided some, I would say, good reason, good
Wow.
support. There are probably some things that could have
Thank
been
you
done
so
better.
much for,
Yeah.
for sharing that thought.
Yeah.
How about you, Joyce?
I think the question is, we don't realize the invisible work that physicians are doing to hold the system together.
Yes.
We don't realize that physicians can't take a day off or any time off without phoning a friend and trying to get what's called a locum physician or a substitute physician. Teachers, on the other hand, they have substitute teachers. They have a system in place. Doctors, we do not have that infrastructure. So that is why
You created locum.
locum was created for that, because we felt there is an equity issue here. There is a burnout issue when people can't find coverage. We need to ensure that doctors are able to be human and they could take that time off, whether it's their own medical leave, whether it's for parental leave or other reasons. And we want to make sure that patients are not left behind and that there's continuity of care, because, if a doctor is not able to find that coverage, like they said, 1,000 patients without a family doctor just overnight. And they would have to start and look for someone themselves.
Thank you so much for moving the needle between, the administrative burden and what you guys are actually building. You actually replied to one of my next question on to what was the vision behind your startups. And I'm going to ask you the same question, IJ. What made you build Pipen?
So for Pippin, I'll take you back. This was 2 years ago, roughly. And I just wanted to leverage existing technology to make my life easier. So I mentioned how I was spending a third of my time doing paperwork. So all my evenings were being taken away. And, for a day that finishes at 4, I wouldn't go home till 7. So it's an extra 3 hours that I was doing. And so I felt there must be a better way, right? And I looked at what was out there. At the time, there was only one tool that actually helps with charting. And actually I had them demo it here at the clinic. It just was clunky. It was very costly, very expensive. And it wasn't seamless. You still needed 24 hours for the note to be generated and verified. And so
what's the one administrative burden that your tool helps doctor?
So that was the initial thing, is building something to actually help with the charting. Okay. So the charting was taking an extra hour at least every day to do, and then AI was coming in to say, hey, for the first time, you actually have this technology that can understand when you're talking to the patient. It can transcribe that information, puts it into how actually doctors write their note. And prior to AI, we didn't have anything like it because, as you know, Joyce, in family medicine, you could talk to your patient about anything, right? And patients come to us for all kinds of problems. So you need a tool that's general enough to understand, all kinds of conversations. Yeah, so this was the inspiration of let's build something that actually
works for because you have the intel.
Yeah.
How about you, Joyce? You shared earlier a little bit about the vision of locum. The angle is different. You're not building software. You're building support system. I will actually say you're building the family doctor ecosystem, right? Where you won't need to go on Facebook to find a doctor for replacement, and you will just go into your app. That's what I believe that your app is, right? So walk us through the logic of that approach.
So we also had a very personal revelation
Okay.
between my wife and I that in the future, if we were to take parental leave, I would have to just phone a friend or go on a Facebook group or go on a job board.
Yes.
And so these are, again, very archaic, informal ways of trying to secure.
And also for our listeners, it's important for them to understand that the doctor are actually self-employed, right? You're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So it's not like someone let's say you have a job and then you want to take a maternity leave, you get someone else. That is actually your practice, your client, your trusted client that you build, right?
Absolutely. And and I think a lot of us would feel very guilty if our patients were also left without care for many, many, many months.
Yes.
And so either we would not take the time that we need, and without that, you might sacrifice things within your family, your social life, and we're not able to achieve that work-life balance at all.
Exactly.
And so when we talk about balance, we talk about sustainability in medicine. We also need to have that infrastructure to substitute physicians when they need it. And that's why we built Locum, to have, a 21st century AI-enabled platform where we could match locum doctors and staff doctors when they need that coverage.
Wow, thank you for doing that. Thank you both for doing that and for creating solution for doctor. And between AI, virtual care, and operational supports, why did each of you bet on the angle you did, AJ?
Yeah.
And which angle you bet on?
Yeah, absolutely. So I bet on the angle that our current systems, like when it comes to software for doctors, are not working for us. And I bet on the angle that this is going to be replaced. I can't see us using the same tools, 5 years out. So that was kind of the ideas, and I wanted to be part of the process to actually be a builder in that space. Like sometimes for listeners, like maybe it's a good idea to like understand one example of how like bad things are. So let's say you have a patient coming in to see you as a family doctor, and you do the assessment. They have a lesion, like a spot, and then you say, I'm going to send a referral to a dermatologist, right? Now, the patient would leave, and then you have to actually do this. So first, obviously, you have to chart your note and your exam findings and your assessment, but then you actually have to send the referral. And so you would think that it's easy. It's just like click a button and then the referral is sent. I counted that I have to do like at least 7 steps to actually send that referral.
Oh, wow.
I have to create a letter. I have to put the patient's information. I have to put the reason why. I have to send attachment of like the previous labs. I have to preview like that, that letter to see that it's working.
Yes.
So it's like 7 steps to just send one referral. And I'm sending like 30 referrals a week. And I'm doing all the paperwork that Joyce mentioned, reviewing all the labs, doing all this stuff. So it's just like, the idea is like, you just can't keep doing it. I'm not.
So from your tool, you created people, and that's created, that helped referrals. So from that point, let's say I got referred and I'm now waiting and I'm getting to you. Can you reply to like the same question I asked him earlier? What's the angle that you picked? Because I feel like, they really goes well hand to hand.
We picked different angles.
Yes.
For example, for sure, Pippin is super helpful for charting. So every single day that admin burden that you see, and for locum, the admin burden of trying to find a locum is tremendous.
Yes.
So posting, talking, and then last minute cancellations. And if you have to go on your parental leave, you have to go on medical leave.
Yes.
It is extremely stressful. And you're not just stressed for yourself, you're stressed for your patients, right? So for us, we took the angle that this is a health human resource problem. And this is, affecting patient care because there is not that continuity that is ensured. If your child goes to school and the teacher is sick, you have a substitute teacher. There is a plan. If your doctor is sick, there is not always a locum doctor. They might be too sick themselves to coordinate that care, and we want to be there to help them.
Okay, and they will be now that you have locum. And it brings me to our last question. AJ, what have you had, like, if we can answer in a quick 30-second each. I'm going to start with AJ. What have you had to unlearn about healthcare should work to actually make progress in 30 seconds?
For healthcare to work, you need the system, to support a solution. You need innovation from people that actually work in that system,
like
right? So it's bottoms up solutions that would actually work for us. And you need engagement, right, throughout the organization. And we need innovation. Like, I think in Canada, we really need innovation.
Innovation in healthcare.
We need, like, sort of focus on actually taking the risk and building something an investment, right?
Yes.
Capital to actually
How
support
about you,
that.
Joyce?
I totally agree. I think
Yeah.
investing in
In 30 seconds.
investing in Canadian entrepreneurs
Yes.
who understand the problem, because we live the problem every day. That's
Exactly.
the most important thing, is people are building for a problem that they are not immersed in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to trust that the people in the system understand the challenges, and we need to invest in them and to ensure that we are supporting these folks because they are passionate about their own lived experience and the problem that they're trying to solve.
Wow. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here today. As you can see, the tool exists. The builders are here, the doctors, and the will exists as well. The question is whether the system moves fast enough, whether or not Canada is ready for innovation in healthcare. That's what we're here to find out every episode. Thank you so much for watching today. And it was Christine Dikonge for Locum.